Dear Rentals Club members, today I'm joined by Leo Walton. Leo is a director of growth for Guardhog Technologies. We'll be talking about trust, safety, security. What's going to be very interesting to you is understanding how, as a property manager, you can leverage this new technology that Leo is going to talk about to really certify your property, for example, know which guests are coming to your property, but also to maybe create more trust into the portfolios of property you have. And this trust can, for example, deliver more growth and remove some kind of booking frictions you may have. So a lot of topics for us to cover. Without further ado, Leo, hello and welcome to this video show.
Hello, thank you for having me. As you can see, I brought the weather with me today. So
the famous London weather, sunny weather. Yes. So I was trying to present your solution, as in that it does a lot of things, but I think you can probably do it better. And I know that when we prepared this call today, you mentioned, for example, a perfect triangle on which your company is able to help property managers and guests as well. So it's kind of interesting. Would you mind sharing this with me, please?
Sure. So we started life as Guardhog insurance company, working in the home sharing space to offer host insurance products to direct owners and management companies. We then realized quite quickly that actually there was an opportunity to provide guest screening and property certification technology on top of that to actually offer sort of 360-degree protection for hosts and for guests too. The reason for this is we see that there's 3 points of origin for risk in a home sharing transaction. You would have the risk of a bad guest, the risk of a bad host, and the risk of a bad property. And I'm sure you'd agree, you've probably seen all 3 in your time. So this was a really sort of key moment for us in the creation of Superhog. Superhog is our risk management toolkit, basically. It's our risk management membership organization. And we take those 3 different risk factors and say, well, how can we address them? So for a guest, the big risk when you're booking a vacation rental, apartment, villa, property anywhere in the world is that you've never been to it. So you've never walked into that property. You're just buying it very quickly and probably handing over a couple of £1,000s as a minimum, and then booking flights and organizing your family. The risk of a fraudulent listing is real, and it's obviously very, 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 very off-putting to guests. So there's that element. And then there's also, if you're hosting, we know that there's so many hosts out there who we haven't even met yet as an industry because they're too nervous to come into the space because they're worried about what might happen to their property. So they're worried about the risky guest. And then everybody, managers, hosts, and guests, is worried about the property failing during the booking because actually it's just not up to standard. So using that sort of mindset, we built Superhog, which is that, we verify each property that comes on to the platform. We verify each guest by sending out a link through the booking to get them to verify themselves, so that the host knows that that person is not someone that has been responsible for causing damage in a vacation rental somewhere else in the world. How do we do that? We do that in a couple of ways. We have the Superhog database that maps the STR landscape through our own records. And then also we use biometric, selfie, and ID cross-referencing software. And those things together give us a score on the guest to make sure that we can give the thumbs up to the host to say, take the booking. And that, in a nutshell, is how we aim to make the whole transaction safer. Because insurance is all well and good, but you're just paying for damage when it goes wrong. What we're trying to do with Superhog is we're trying to prevent the damage from happening in the first place. So it's the combination of the tools that you can put on the front end of the booking, which is, checking the property has been certified if you're a guest. You can do if it's on Superhog. Checking that the guest has been verified. You can do if you're on Superhog. And then actually putting our award-winning protection behind that. So we'll protect any booking that's Superhog verified with £1 million of, buildings protection, 100,000 of content, and we'll wrap the whole thing up with a virtual deposit. So you don't need to take a security deposit. I think that sort of goes. I think that explains where we are. I think.
Yeah, thank you so much, because I think it's clear, and also you pointed out a few things that, for example, I guess that damage deposit, for example, that we know it's a fiction, right? Damage deposit. If you're booking a villa in the Caribbean, for example, just a random example, it could be thousands of euros, of pounds, sometimes, right, as damage deposit. And so, if I understand correctly, with your solution, as a property manager, I don't have to ask my guests to give me that damage deposit. I don't have to collect it, because thanks to your virtual damage deposit, that's already taken care of. Is it how it works?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, damage deposits are a real pain, the processing, the cost, the friction it creates during the booking process. So Superhog removes that, because we will just pay for any damages up to that value. You're getting protection with us from £50 is the minimum we'll pay out, up to the £1 million of buildings I referenced. So yeah, remove the security deposit, use our virtual deposit, and we will provide that as long as the guest has been verified and the property certified.
And we talked as well. We've been in the industry for a while, and trust and safety has always been a big topic, right? What's interesting sometimes, as a property owner, I sometimes think, I want to make sure that the guests are, people I want to have at my place. But actually, quite often we don't think that we should also display or explain why guests should trust us. For example, especially on your own website, if you have direct bookings, making sure, giving signs, giving signals that guests should trust us before the booking, right? So how can you talk about certifications, for example, it's kind of things that your company is doing. So again, just to explain, if I want to, create more trust on my website, how can your company help me?
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. I mean, this goes for your direct bookings as well as your platform bookings, because there are ways you can nod to it in your email communications with your guest, and maybe marking things in your listing about the fact that you're Superhog verified. But we see Superhog verification as being that badge of safety for anyone in the industry, because it's a thing that your guests can then go and look up and say, okay, cool, I understand what Superhog is. It's the fact that each of these properties has been certified as safe to use. That gives me that extra feeling that I should book this one instead of the one on the other website. So yeah, 100% from attracting a guest point of view, it can only help to say that you're a Superhog partner officially, or that you have your own approach to trust and safety. And I think that's the important thing here, is that property managers and we in the community of home sharing need to do more to highlight the importance of making people feel comfortable, and that works the other way too. So how do you make your not just you as a business making your guests feel more comfortable, but if you're a sort of company where you're looking to get hosts on board, a lot of them are going to be reticent to be involved because they're going to be so nervous about listing, right? So again, that Superhog seal, or a reference to your trust and safety policy, whatever it might be, your trust and safety approach on your website can only help when it comes to attracting new partners, landlords, hosts.
And by getting homeowners on board with this concept, it's also a way to say, hey, we're doing all this work, we're using this technology. It's a way also maybe to explain to them that you're going to be charging an additional fee. So as a property owner, I can better explain why we're also charging maybe a fee to get all this checked behind the scenes, right? It's also maybe something your company could help property managers craft good explanations to homeowners on what they're doing and why there's a cost to it, right? There's a cost, of course.
Completely. I think that, and that's what I spend a lot of time doing with our bigger clients, especially, is there's a bit, when they're moving properties across, they might have 1,000 emails to send. I mean, that's great. That's really exciting, because then you've got 1,000 people to tell about how seriously you're taking the risk to their properties, not just with a damage protection for when it does go wrong, but actually steps that you're taking to prevent it going wrong in the first place. And it's a real marketing opportunity. If your rivals aren't doing it, shout about it. Shout about everything you're doing in trust and safety. Because again, I'm repeating myself, I know, but think about how many people we're not bringing into the industry because they just don't trust it yet.
So I got two questions. So exactly, I was just thinking about this. People don't trust the industry yet. What's interesting, of course, platforms like Verbo and Airbnb, have built up a double, a two-way review system where, I have a profile as a host, the guest has a profile, and we each build up, from booking after booking, we build up, our profile, trust, reputation through reviews. If I understand correctly, here with your system, I can still feel, confident about welcoming a guest, even if this guest, he's not anywhere, has no profile, or is brand new to the industry, right? This also a value you're bringing to the table.
Oh, yeah, well, I think yes, to an extent, but we also think that reviews form part of the mix. So that is something that our systems are looking for as well. So when we're running checks, it's about, is this person completely new? If they are, then the system will ask them to verify the identity of a fellow traveller that they're coming on the booking with. So we are very proactive in trying to say, well, look, we'll help, and ID verification is a really good first stage, but also, do you have a co-pilot for this booking, and can we see their identity? So we are very proactive in taking those steps. And again, it's normally about just knocking off the things that make the booking look suspicious. And if someone's happy to then share the identity of the person they're traveling with, that relaxes us, and then we can take them on a bit of a journey. So it's just about us gathering enough information to feel confident offering our guarantees. So you're quite right. Reviews on their own are not the be all and end all, because actually people can fake them, and actually the absence of them doesn't prove anything. It just tells you something you don't know. So yes, to an extent.
Interesting. Thanks for replying in details with that. Super interesting. And my last question is about the impact of COVID-19 on your business. There's obviously, we hear a lot of horror stories in Europe, in the US as well, about, we hear about house parties, for example. On the other hand, we also hear about the need for, self-checking. Self-checking, we know from what the platforms like Airbnb, Verbo, and Booking.com have said, that self-checking is very important nowadays. That's what a lot of guests are asking for. But if you self-check people, how do you even know they are the right people? So kind of between house party and the need for self-checking, kind of sounds like a solutions for trust and safety in general are more timely, are more in need. Is this how you see it as well?
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think COVID-19 has sort of probably retired the sort of meet and greet on mass, really. It's not to say it won't happen, or it can't happen, and it won't happen for really high end bookings and things like that. But I think in general, it's probably accelerated the usage of smart locks and key nest solutions, things like that. And it all goes back to the whole thing. New types of risk exist within home sharing because it's tech enabled. It's fast. You're taking multiple bookings on multiple platforms and your own direct channel in multiple properties at the same time, because you're able to scale using the technology that's available to you. So that presents new risks, and COVID, has just added more to the mix, because you're going to have to go remote, which means the logical thing to do is have that extra step, have that provider screening guests in different ways, looking at IDs, looking at database to map behavior. All of that's so important. And actually, with a system like Superhog, can be very, very quick. You can have an instant result, which means you're not having to delay sort of last minute bookings and direct bookings. And yes, I think yes, there's the COVID taking away the check-in. It's also meant, and this is the I don't know how well discussed this is, but we're dealing with this and we're talking about this all the time because it's so central. So the noise monitoring guys that are getting the party call outs at the moment. It's if pubs are shutting at 10 o'clock, as an English person, I can tell you, English people won't stop drinking at 10 o'clock. They'll just go back to somebody's house and carry on there. So the problem's moving. It's moving out of nightclubs or whatever into the vacation rental. So in those very two direct ways, our business has changed. And I think the need for trust and safety solutions industry wide is as important as it ever was. But maybe now people are waking up to it more.
Yeah, thanks for your insight in this, and I agree as well that it's not just about summer parties, but this winter with some venues closing down, the issue will be real and happening over and over again. So it's be timely. So Leo, if people want to know more about Selfchecking, Guardhog, what's the best way to know more about about your solution?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we have a team of people, and we're always available to talk globally to people in the industry, be it direct hosts, be it direct guests, be it management companies, platforms. There's probably a way we can help, advise on what your trust and safety solution should be. We're happy to work in a variety of ways to make that a reality. So, yeah, you can go to the website. So it's either guardhog.com or Superhog has its own site as well. So you can go superhog.com, and then feel free to send me an email. I guess you'll put something on the stuff so people can find me. It's leo@guardhog.com. Really, really simple, easy to spell.
Leo@guardhog.com. All right, perfect. Leo, thank you so much for your time explaining, complex technology with simple words. I always love this as a tech guy. I think it's always very hard to do. So you did a great job here. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you soon and maybe in person, because I can't wait to enjoy these beautiful London sunsets.
You're very kind. Lovely to meet you. Thanks, guys.